This episode is brought to you by San Pellegrino Ciao. A gift from Italy to your home. San Pellegrino Ciao is a flavored sparkling water made with real fruit juice, finished with a pinch of Sicilian salt for a perfectly balanced taste. So which flavor will you choose? Peach, lime, blood orange, cherry, or maybe the all-new limoncello? Crafted in Italy with 0 grams of added sugar. San Pellegrino Ciao. Buy it now.
And now, your daily dose of debate, breaking news, and uncensored views. This is the Michael Medved Show.
And another great day in this greatest nation on God's green earth. A great day in which the war is over, or is it? I do think that it's an indication of just how troubled this country is right now, that so many people, and not just people in the media, but ordinary people on the street who are being interviewed about this, don't take the president's word for it when he says they're about to sign at least an understanding, a memorandum of understanding and cooperation, that the failed ceasefire, which never really seemed to take hold, that's gone. And now we have an agreement that's going to be signed in Europe next week. That's what the president said. But the fact that so many people have discarded what the president said is an indication of the rough time that President Trump is likely to have, not just in the upcoming midterm elections, but in the 2 years left for him to run the White House and to complete that big, beautiful ballroom, along with the other changes in the Washington landscape that he is attempting to complete before his presidency ends. The New York Times reports that the world watched wearily as Washington and Tehran made conflicting statements today about a purported deal toward ending the war. That war has roiled the Middle East for 3.5 months, well over now 100 days. It's 103 days that the war's. Both sides said terms had not been finalized, but President Trump hinted that a signing ceremony could happen as soon as this weekend, or maybe next week, or maybe never. Mr. Trump has repeatedly said that deals to resolve various aspects of the war were near, but those promises have so far failed to materialize. Neither country has released specifics on the deal's terms. The Iranian foreign minister, whose name is Abbas Araghchi, said today that an agreement between Tehran and Washington has never been closer. Okay, the fact that it's never been closer is, I guess it's encouraging, but given the fact that it's never actually occurred before, the fact that it's never been closer is mild encouragement. The foreign minister of Iran, Abbas Araghchi, also called for media outlets to refrain from speculating, oh, good luck with that, about its content after Mehr, a semi-official Iranian outlet affiliated with hardliners who oppose any deal, published what it said were details of the agreement. That report included a reference to the United States committing to lift all sanctions. Meanwhile, there has been also today a shooting, and it sounds like a very costly one, in Midland, Texas. That took place this morning. According to Lori Blong, Lori Blong is the name of the mayor of Midland, Texas. One person is dead. Several others have been wounded. There were 11 known victims total, killed and wounded. She said the suspect was contained. Does that mean he's captured or dead? But no one has provided details yet. We'll give you details as we find out more about it. 9 victims are being treated at Midland Memorial Hospital. 4 are still in surgery right now, and 5 are currently stable. That according to the hospital. Midland Police Chief Greg Snow said in a social media post that officers heard gunfire coming from a building in the southwestern part of the city, and they quickly secured the area. If there are further details available, we will share them with you. Meanwhile, there's a new explosion of what people call vandalism. Some people might call it good-humored joking, but who knows? Huge numbers have appeared, a sequence of numbers on the grass on the National Mall. They began appearing yesterday and more today. What are the numbers? Let's see if this rings any bells for you. The numbers are 8, 6, 4, 7. And they say in the media that is a phrase generally used to signal opposition to President Trump. Actually, I think there are better and easier ways, more direct ways to signal opposition to President Trump. And we're going to hear about them over the weekend when there is a part of America that is going to be demonstrating against him at the same time that UFC fight on the White House South Lawn is wishing him happy birthday. In any event, the number 8647, you may remember that Comey, the former FBI director, got into trouble and actually was indicted because of taking a photograph of those numbers spelled out in seashells. And it's supposed to be number 86 is used in the restaurant industry as a code, meaning to change the order from a patron, to get rid of one order, to 86 it, and to get a new order. And so the 8647, even when the numbers are written together as 8647, means let's get rid of Trump. And okay, they say the number 86 is often used in the restaurant industry. I'm not sure how universal it is, but let's assume that is the case. They remove the order of a patron. Well, Trump is the 47th president. Get it? 8647. But if the numbers appearing on the National Mall are suddenly run together, where it's not 86 separation 47, it's just running 8647 together, it's kind of mysterious. A spokesman for the Department of the Interior condemned the numbers that have appeared, some of them pretty large, apparently, human-sized. And those Department of Interior spokesman says the authorities are investigating this vandalism. Now, given the fact that you can be indicted for actually just taking a picture of seashells arranged to spell out those numbers and then sending it to friends, what if they actually find the people who have committed this vandalism? Will they be sentenced, and maybe sentenced to participate in the UFC fights on the White House South Lawn? This weekend, as President Donald Trump celebrates his 80th birthday, that's Sunday, with a UFC fight on the White House South Lawn. It's amazing that this is associated with celebrations of American independence and Trump's birthday. What does it say about his personality that the way to celebrate his birthday is not some kind of singing or dancing tribute or anything of that nature? Nothing that would work at the Kennedy Center. By the way, did he ever suggest having UFC fights at the Kennedy Center? Well, we'll get to the ongoing battle over the Kennedy Center's name, whether it's still going to continue as the Trump Kennedy Center. There are also protesters who are throwing a star-studded political concert coming up. We'll tell you about it. That's coming up also this weekend in This Greatest Nation. We'll be right back.
This episode is brought to you by Vuori. For Father's Day, give him something built for wherever the day takes him. Vuori's performance joggers, breathable polos, and travel-ready layers are made to move. From workouts to downtime, on the clock or off, these are the everyday staples he'll wear on repeat. Get 20% off your first order at vuori.com/Father's Day. Exclusions apply. See site for details.
Breaking news on the reported shooting in Midland, Texas. They are now saying that there are a total of 11 victims, one at least dead, several of the others in surgery and hoping to recover, and others who seem to be in stable condition, but 11 victims, not including the perpetrator, the shooter, who what said earlier he was contained. Well, he's contained because he's dead. That seems to be the word from Midland, Texas. No indication yet of a possible motive or whether this is political in any way or associated with terrorism in any way. We will bring you that news as it becomes available. Meanwhile, something that we do know is going to be happening is the Sunday scheduling of the CFA, which stands for the Committee for the First Amendment. They are hosting a special extravaganza to counteract the president's 80th birthday celebration, which is a UFC Ultimate Fighting Championship fight on the White House South Lawn. This is not among President Trump's advisors. It's taking place among people who are professionals when it comes to mixed martial arts. And all of this is part, we are told, of America's 250th anniversary celebration. I really am not sure how they get to the idea that as much as President Trump may enjoy professional wrestling or mixed martial arts, and to spend a great deal of money constructing this structure on the South Lawn of the White House, how this connects with the founding fathers and the great blessing of independence and the creation of the United States as a nation and a democratic nation, democratic with a small d, of course. And no, it's not the large D, which the president now prefers to call dumb-ocratic, but reminds people that you don't need a B in the word dumb as you would normally. He believes that most people in the country don't know that you spell dumb with a B, but leave that aside. The Committee for the First Amendment is hosting Rise Up and Sing Out, a concert for the First Amendment. It's a 90-minute extravaganza featuring speeches and performances from Jane Fonda, Bette Midler, Patti Smith, Rufus Wainwright, and Sasha Allen. There probably will be more. The benefit celebrates, quote, the right of all Americans to exercise their freedom of speech and religion, as well as to assemble and protest. Okay, meanwhile, there is a new national security threat that the Secretary of the Interior, Doug Burgum, former governor of North Dakota, he was standing behind President Trump in the Oval Office, and he says that a new security report from Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War, indicates a new front of war, a front against wind turbines that pose, we are told, a national security threat. Here is that warning, which takes a little bit of explanation, from Doug Burgum, the Interior Secretary, clip 20.
Absolutely, positively, the construction of these wind towers have an effect on fisheries. We've had multiple roundtables between NOAA, which is part of Commerce, and Interior, which manages all of the offshore leasing. So plenty of evidence that destroys fishery. Number two is marine mammals, which Howard has in NOAA. It's affected. We've had more whales wash up on shore during the construction of these offshore things. So it's not great for marine life, not great for fisheries. We also have the report from Secretary Pete Hegseth, which conclusively, this is a national security threat. And we should understand this was thrown out by the Democrats and said, no, it's not. It can't be a national security. They're just making it up. Other countries, including Sweden, have canceled offshore wind projects because of national security issues. And all you have to do is pay attention to the way the wars are being fought today. It's autonomous on autonomous, a lot of it low altitude. These wind towers that President Trump has worked to try to stop. The towers themselves can be 600 feet. The blades are 250 on top of that. You could launch an attack on the U.S. in the Northeast in our most populous area with a bunch of autonomous drones coming through a wind tower field, which cover thousands, if not tens of thousands of miles.
Okay, we're talking about wind tower fields representing a national security threat because they will be knocked down by drones coming out to the field. This, it seems to me, with all the things we have to worry about and threats to national security, despite what may be a disastrous impact on birds, which I know President Trump has emphasized, and maybe even on whales, the idea of wind turbines, which actually do provide a minor source of new energy, that somehow building them represents a danger to us. Does that mean that we need to dismantle the wind turbines that already exist as a source of energy? And that would help, I guess, the oil industry, could increase the price of petroleum. And again, the logic here and the notion that the Secretary of Defense, or of War, as he would prefer it, the idea that he has to now worry about wind towers as a national security threat because Sweden has decided to cancel them offshore. I understand. I think it's a foolish notion that we're going to be able to do entirely renewable sources of energy. In other words, to solar energy and wind energy. I understand that's been oversold, but maybe the dangers are being oversold too for some of those sources of energy that already exist and function. Meanwhile, there's also a concern about electric boats. And who do you think would be opposed to electric boats as part of our Navy, a part of our economy? Well, the President of the United States is worried about those boats. We'll get to that and more coming up on The Medved Show.
The Michael Medved Show.
Listen.
Nationwide.
Listen.
And around the world at michaelmedved.com.
And listen.
When you're a mid-sized business, you need every competitive advantage you can get. Like an AI solution that works for you, not against you. SAP Grow is built with AI embedded at its core, working across every system. And it's ready to go from day one, so you can hit the ground running. Bring it with SAP Grow, AI Cloud ERP for any size business.
And on the Michael Medved Show, President Trump has a lot of targets, not just political targets, but environmental targets. He doesn't like sharks. He doesn't like wind turbines as a source of power. He doesn't like algae. Where is he fighting algae? We will get to that. He also doesn't like electric boats. And he explained why not in the Oval Office with passion and precision. This is clip 19.
Fish that you weren't allowed to fish for. No, but think of it. These people are crazy. And the new thing they had was you had to have an electric boat, even though they didn't work. And even though once you got out there, you had a problem because you couldn't get back because they didn't charge long enough. These are problems that were mentioned to them, and they said, we don't care. You have to have an electric boat. And the other problem was the electric, your battery is much heavier, as you know. Yep. So the boat has a tendency to sink. And they were forced, by 2030 or so, you were forced to have an electric boat. I don't think you were too happy with that, right?
Okay, the electric boats, there is another problem, which is the algae forms in the reflecting pool. A few days after the $14 million renovation was completed, along came the algae in the D.C. heat. It's being removed, an Interior Department spokeswoman said, and the measures are in place to prevent it in the future. When renovations of the reflecting pool near the Lincoln Memorial, which President Trump has been very involved in and very proud of, and he made a chart comparing the reflecting pool to the Empire State Building and to the World Trade Center, and as if you were about to stand this pool on one end to see which is taller. And this is all strange. But when renovations of the reflecting pool were completed last week, President Trump praised its beautiful clean water. Under his predecessors, Trump said the pool was terrible, disgusting, and garbage-ridden. Now, days after the pool was refilled, clumps of green algae have been spotted throughout the water. Oh, no! Noticed on 2 separate visits to the reflecting pool this week, the algae coated several areas at the bottom of the pool, including the east and west ends, close to the World War II Memorial and the Lincoln Memorial, and the algae floated to the surface. An algae spot near the World War II Memorial grew significantly bigger between a rainy Wednesday afternoon and Thursday yesterday, which was hot and muggy. News photographers also captured images of buckets of Indochlor, which is a chlorine compound used to control bacteria, algae, slime, and fungi in bodies of water. Trump officials have an explanation, of course. What you are seeing is residual algae from the supply lines, which have been sitting dormant for 8 weeks while construction has been taking place. Is this a way of the idea that it's residual algae, of blaming it on Biden? It's part of the normal startup process, says Katie Martin, an Interior Department spokesperson, in a statement. We are removing the algae, and the nanobubblers will maintain the pool and keep it algae-free. President Donald J. Trump, they say in the statement, is an expert builder who has fixed the reflecting pool for good, unlike the failed and extremely costly attempt by Obama and Biden. It does strike me as, again, a painful exposure of the polarization in the United States and the inability to agree on anything, that they are trying to claim that algae has a partisan orientation, that it is because of the custody of Obama and Biden, who, of course, preceded President Trump, that they have problems with the reflecting pool requiring $14 million of taxpayer money to fix. Meanwhile, the idea of spending money on various projects. There's no project, it seems to me, that is so difficult to explain as the UFC event, the Ultimate Fighting Championship event that is going on in the South Lawn of the White House. The Secretary of State, who is in charge of our relationship with the rest of the world, Secretary Marco Rubio, says that that event is a gift to Americans. This is what he said about the mixed martial arts matches that are scheduled for this Sunday. This is clip 12.
White House is the people's house. It belongs to the people of the United States. The American 250 celebration belongs to the people of the United States. And there are millions and millions of Americans from all walks of life that are not necessarily attuned to politics or the financial markets or anything else, but they love the sport. And every Saturday, we got a big event once a month. They're tuning in and they're watching and they host it. For them to be able to see this event with their White House in the background as part of our celebration as a country in our 250 years, I think is a gift to the American people. That's what Saturday Sunday is about. It's a gift to the American people. They're going to see their White House in their capital on their nation's birthday, celebrating with a historic event. We could have had a band, and we have great bands. We could have done a Shakespeare in the Park production. There are a lot of things we could have done with it, but this one will have people watching, probably over, 1 billion people all over the world. 1 billion people all over the world will be watching America celebrate its 250th birthday with the White House in the background and some of the best athletes in the world in that octagon. And we're happy to be a part of that, and we're happy to be a part of all the things we're going to be working on together in the years to come.
Okay, this is very much of a stretch, it seems to me, that this is a gift to billions of people around the world who are going to be watching it. Later today, we're going to be reviewing the new film from Steven Spielberg called Disclosure Day. And it begins, the first things that you see with the Disclosure Day are some kind of mixed martial art brutality. And Spielberg emphasizes the pain and the hysteria surrounding one of those competitions. And I don't know if there's any coincidence or if we're suggesting that now that part of what we're doing is giving the world a unifying cause to enjoy mixed martial arts, to prepare to deal with aliens, extraterrestrials, which is also part of this new movie by Steven Spielberg, of course, the maker of Close Encounters of the Third Kind. We will get to that. There's also a question of who is a real man. And do you have to be a fan of mixed martial arts to be a real man? Well, the question comes up because a member of the U.S. Senate has questioned the manhood of someone aspiring, James Tallarico, to be his colleague. We will get to that issue and more coming up on the Medved Show.
Hey, Fidelity. Can I get a second opinion on stocks in the Fidelity app?
With Fidelity, it's easy to get an outside opinion from independent experts in a single score.
And then?
When you're ready, trade U.S. stocks and ETFs with no commissions.
That's right.
I am always right.
Investing involves risk, including risk of loss. $0 commission does not apply to customers designated by Fidelity as a professional equity trader. A limited number of ETFs are subject to a service fee of $100. See details at fidelity.com/commissions. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE SIPC.
And on the Michael Medved Show, one of the big battles that is going to determine the control of the U.S. Senate is the battle in Texas between the Republican nominee, Ken Paxton, who knocked out the very honorable and widely respected U.S. Senator John Cornyn, who had actually at one point been the Republican whip in the U.S. Senate, the number 2 guy, together with Chuck Schumer. But he's gone, knocked out in the primary by Ken Paxton, the Attorney General of Texas. And not Marco Rubio, but in this case, Ted Cruz, who is the other senator from Texas, made a remark about the Democratic nominee, James Tallarico, who is a seminarian in the Presbyterian tradition and also a member of the state legislature. The race is going to be very close, but what Ted Cruz said, when you're talking about Tallarico, the Democratic nominee, there are many words that come to mind, but no one would think of the word masculine or manly. Okay, that seems to be a challenge to the manhood of the Democratic nominee. And Tallarico answered back on MS Now about this status and this issue of manhood. Here is the Democratic nominee for U.S. Senate in Texas, James Tallarico. Clip 18.
A man takes responsibility. A man upholds his commitments to his family and his neighbors. A man does what's right even when no one is watching. And here's what real men don't do. They don't lie and cheat their way through life. They don't sell their soul to the highest bidder. They don't steal from other people in order to enrich themselves. And so I've said before, and I will keep saying, that real men serve others. Weak men serve themselves. And so I welcome this debate about what it means to be a man. And I don't think Ken Paxton or Ted Cruz are in a position to tell anybody what a real man is.
Okay, I think that's an effective line, especially given the fact that Ken Paxton, the opposition in this case, just had his marriage breakup because his wife, who is a state senator in the state of Texas, says that he behaved in a way that biblically she should seek a divorce. And why? Because he cheated. He had a girlfriend, and then there are also accusations that he took outside of legality steps to try to find a job for that girlfriend, a public job. And all of that led to his impeachment by his colleagues. The Republican-controlled State House of Representatives impeached him. And this is, again, sets up a effective response to questions about Tallarico's manhood. Amazing. And there is Jeremy's asking, is what's the Jewish lesson on this? What he's referring to is in one of the most influential parts of the Talmud, which is called Ethics of the Fathers, Pirkei Avot. There is a question that is asked, which is, who is mighty? Who is strong? Who is powerful? And the answer that is provided from that perspective is somebody who controls his passions, someone who controls his instincts, someone who is the master of himself, which is a good question for President Trump to try to address and to take back as a lesson for people growing up and people who, age of 80, may still be growing up. Meanwhile, there is a question from somebody who does appear to be mature and responsible. At least he has good respect from his colleagues. A representative of the state of Washington in the United States House of Representatives, Representative Adam Smith. And he is a Democrat, but he was on CNN with Jake Tapper answering questions about Trump's pending deal, which we all eagerly await. the deal with Iran. Here is Democrat Adam Smith.
Congressman, President Trump says final points have been approved, but the IRGC says no such deal has been approved. What do you make of this announcement? Do you think it's actually real this time?
I don't. I don't think anything has really changed. I mean, as you pointed out, Trump has been making this promise for quite some time, sometimes claiming that it actually was done. We're still stuck in the same basic position. Trump felt that a bombing campaign could basically break the Iranian regime, that either the regime would change or, the people would change, or the people there would give in to his demands. And Iran didn't. Basically, they decided all they have to do is survive and place the region at risk. And we're still kind of stuck in that place. Now, the way out of this for Trump, logically, is to come up with one of his sort of framework agreements that doesn't actually agree to anything. But that's been on the table for several weeks now, and there's been no progress made. And to date, whenever Trump says we have a deal and Iran says we don't, Iran turns out to be right.
He didn't say, oh, look, I agree with what the Tehran is saying more than what Washington is saying, but that's the implication. We're going to be talking about Trump's control of the GOP, and is Trump, even with this pending deal with Iran, is he facing a decline? There's polling that indicates he may be, but we'll be speaking to two editors about that. Michael Warren, who is the politics editor at The Dispatch. He will be talking about Trump's control of the GOP and whether that will last for the rest of the 2.5 years that he will be president of the United States. And then a question about Israel. Is the charge of Israeli genocide fair, reasonable, accurate, appropriate? Rich Lowry, who is the editor-in-chief of National Review, leading conservative journal, writes about the charge of genocide and what it means and how it should properly be applied. They both will be joining us, not at the same time, during the course of this show. There is also a new column that has a radical proposal for dealing more effectively with the blight of drugs, and very dangerous and destructive drugs. Something that doesn't involve outlawing them or going back to a war on drugs, but comes to a question about using powers of taxation, not tariffs, but taxation, because right now, frankly, we have been saving so much money. One of the few things that is cheaper and dramatically cheaper in the last few years is alcohol, marijuana, and fentanyl. So what do you do about raising the cost, human cost of those substances? And how do you do that without violating basic personal liberties in the United States? There is also a disastrous record that apparently has been set by President Trump. This, according to a new scathing poll, which we will get to. And the latest on the shooting in Midland, Texas, and much, much more, plus a review of Disclosure Day from Steven Spielberg and Emily Blunt starring. That and more in This Greatest Nation on God's Green Earth.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.